Hi there. In this video I just want to touch on the headlines and the videos that have been doing the rounds about Joe Wicks, the body coach, commenting on the link between nutrition and ADHD. So I'm Nikki Butler, also known as the Autistic Joyologist. We do actually have a nutritional therapy background. So I wanted to raise a couple of things around this. My heart actually goes out to Joe a little bit on this because I feel like he's been vilified and perhaps some of the comments have been taken out of context, certainly not in the context of the overall podcast that he was on. And then the media, the press have created these clickbait headlines and blown up just specific parts of the interview that he did. Now, I completely understand why so many people are angry and frustrated at the comments that have been made, you know, the small part of the interview that has been shared that is suggesting that many people are misdiagnosed with ADHD, or that, you know, the poor nutrition causes ADHD, because I genuinely don't believe that that's what Joe was trying to explain. Now, nutrition does play a part in our overall well-being. Whether we are neurodivergent or neurotypical, nutrition can play an essential part in our ability to focus, our feeling of well-being, our energy levels. And it's important to acknowledge that. And I really believe that that's where Joe was coming from. So if you listen to the whole podcast interview, it's very much in the context of nutrition and exercise. And I always feel that Joe has done so much for society, and, you know, let's not overlook what he did during lockdown with all the exercise that he was providing and the free content that he provides to help people be healthy and well, because that's what he wants to give back to society. He is not an ADHD expert. I agree, he shouldn't have made the comments that he made, but I don't believe that he should be vilified for it, because he does so much good. And as someone who has a background in nutritional therapy, he sort of alluded to some of the studies around nutrition and ADHD, and he isn't wrong in what he is saying, in that there are studies that show the impact that nutrition can have on our energy levels and our focus, as I just mentioned. And as someone who is autistic and ADHD, and I can't take medication to help with my ADHD, I have had to find other strategies and ways to look after myself. And something I have noticed is that the quality of my nutrition does impact my overall well-being, and therefore the things that I find challenging with both my autism and ADHD. So I know if I eat too much sugar, my energy levels are all over the place. I feel like I've got too much adrenaline, too much cortisol, so my stress responses, it makes me feel very wired. I can't focus, I can't struggle. So it is taking something that is already a challenge for me with my ADHD and amplifying it. That's how I would explain it. But when I reduce my sugar, when I focus on good quality nutrition, it actually helps me to feel better in myself. It helps me to sleep better. It helps reduce my stress. And therefore that helps me with my ability to manage my focus, my energy levels that are naturally a challenge with my ADHD. And I think that's important to consider. I don't believe there's a link in terms of ADHD being misdiagnosed, and I think that was something that Joe shouldn't have said, and again put it in the context of the whole podcast interview that he was on. But he has released a statement afterwards to say that that wasn't what he was meaning to say. And look, let's face it, we all say things at times that are not perfectly articulated and can be taken out of context, or we just say things that aren't correct. The problem for Joe is it's on a huge platform to a worldwide audience. But I think let's give him a little bit of grace and use it as an opportunity to perhaps consider areas that we might look at for our own well-being, but open up these conversations so that we can, I guess, educate people in what works for us as individuals. Because also bear in mind that what works nutritionally for you might not work for me. What works nutritionally for young children might not work for us as adults. It's so individual. You know, I had a lot of people say to me, you need to stop drinking coffee. Well, actually, coffee for me is incredible. It really helps me focus. I drink adaptogenic coffee. It is amazing for giving me clarity and the ability to focus on my work. It's a stimulant. And so it works for me. It might not work for somebody else. And I think the other thing with exercise, you know, again, I exercise in the morning and I vary my exercise, but that is great for a dopamine hit. It's great for managing energy levels, for, you know, really getting rid of excess adrenaline for me. But I can't exercise in the evening because then I won't sleep. I'm too wired. My whole body isn't able to function properly if I exercise too late at night. We are so individual. It's so nuanced. So maybe use the opportunity to bring some attention to your own experiences. Like, notice what happens when you eat different foods, if you have different food combinations, and just be aware of what works really well for you. Same with exercise. Same with meditation and mindfulness. You know, many of us can't have that kind of level of meditation that we're told should work. Like, you know, when people say to me, switch your brain off and relax, I'm like, that's not going to happen for me. But I find a way to meditate and be mindful that works with my brain and my body and brings me to a place of calm and balance. So, you know what, when we see these things on social media, the reason that the media and the press use these clickbait headlines is for that very reason. Is clickbait. They want you to click, they want you to read the snippet, they want you to read or listen to their publication and what they've got to say. And it's often really skewed. It's often not a true picture. You can go away and listen to the podcast, the longer podcast that Joe was on, and you can choose how you respond to it. So I do appreciate that so many people have been angered and annoyed and frustrated by this. I've chosen not to have that response to it. It's not ideal when these missed messages go out there. It's not ideal to make big generalisations, but I'm not going to choose to be angry about it because it doesn't serve me very well. But it does give me the opportunity to come and make videos like this and open up conversations around, okay, how can we look at our own nutrition to support ourselves? Or if you're someone that's got a neurodivergent child, how can you make some different choices or play around with different food choices to find what works for them? Like, I'd love to know your thoughts on this. Please feel free to pop a comment below, reach out on any of the socials, and you can always email me, hello@autisticjoyologist.co.uk. And I hope you have a great day.